new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day one, or day two, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I'm your host, JoAnn Crone. Hello, my Lolas. Hey, today, the day you hear this, I am going to be on a plane to New York City to drop my firstborn off at college. It seems like it went by so fast and it went by so slow, but I want to say that I am so excited for her. I cannot wait to see this next chapter. And I hesitate to say there's no sense of sadness at all. I mean, it's a little sad, but not really. I think excitement more than anything. And people come up to me, they have for the past few weeks. And when I tell them that I'm taking my daughter to college, they're like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I want to address all those feelings right now because I talk with a lot of parents who do not have teenagers. They don't have high school seniors. They're looking at their 10-year-olds and their 9-year-olds, and maybe you are too. And you're like, I can't imagine the heartbreak that will happen when my kid finally leaves home. And I want this episode to be a source of comfort for you. We're going to go through some of the research. We're going to go through some of the changes that you might want to make right now in your life to make sure that you are in a great place, that you don't have to worry about this transition. And that's what we're going to do. So get ready. Let's get on with the show. So this whole journey to college, I have been preparing for since, the beginning of my daughter's senior year. We started last year around this time going on college visits. We went to NYU, where she's going to go to school, and we went to USC. And when we were on the college campus of USC, I just had this profound feeling of sadness. This was a year ago, profound feeling of sadness. And it wasn't anything to do with my daughter leaving me. It was more this feeling of grieving of what I missed out on in college and how I was at a time in my life now that I thought that I would never get that chance again to experience freshman year, to experience that fun and that meeting new people and living in a place that is not home. And discovering who you are and getting to try all these things without having responsibility on you. And I also felt a little sad for college me because I had horrible anxiety, horrible undiagnosed anxiety in college and undiagnosed ADHD. I felt different from everybody. I didn't know why I felt different from everybody. I didn't know why socializing was so damn hard for me, how I didn't want to go to get-togethers, how I found it hard to make eye contact with people, how I got into these really repetitive, fast talking patterns because I was so nervous. And then watching people's reactions and feeling that they hated me. And now I know it's not that. I have ADHD. I experience rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Any emotion that I see on somebody's face, I interpret to be horribly about me. And that's something I didn't know at the time. I really thought it was me. And so I had all this sadness and I had all this grief that I would not get to experience college again. Last year, this time, I was also experiencing a lot here in my company. There was a lot of stress financial wise. There was a lot of conflict. And I was just trying to get through it all. I went into a big depression and anxiety episode where I basically changed so much of my own life since last August. And I like to tell people that your emotions, they are not meant to be stuffed down and hidden. They are meant as a warning indicator. It's like the light on a car. When something goes wrong with your car and you see the light on your dashboard, it's not your job to try to make the light on your dashboard just go off, right? Because if you make the light on your dashboard just go off and do nothing else, your car is going to break down. Something's going to happen. The same is with emotions. If you are having a very intense, very strong emotion, that is an indicator that something is going on. And if you just try to stuff down that emotion without figuring out the cause, something's going to blow up. And this is what I was doing. I was stuffing down this emotion of grief, of anger, and I was kind of attributing it to my daughter going to college, but I also knew, no, this isn't the real picture. This isn't it. So I lost a friendship. I cut back my company. I started improv. I joined a new women's networking group, which has become such a source of joy for me. I started a workout routine, and I'm 10 pounds down with a ton more muscle. So many changes that I am now the happiest person I am in my life, and my daughter's going to college. And I just want to put that first, because the best mom is a happy mom. And when your kid is ready to go to college, I want you to be the most fulfilled version of yourself, not just to pour into them, but for you, so that you could be excited and ready to go. So I was on a podcast this morning, and one of the podcast hosts mentioned that she saw another influencer dropping her last child off at college. And they quoted this meme that there's a time in a parent's life when they go from being a director to being an audience member. And she's like, that is so sad. What do you think of that? And I answered, well, I don't feel like that applies right now, because I have been an audience member in my child's life for a really long time. And that's what I aim to be. And that's the kind of parenting that I embrace. There is this saying, especially in teaching and educating, that you could either be a sage on the stage or you could be the guide on the side. And I have always wanted to be the guide on the side in my kids' life. I have always wanted to watch them and see what they need and who they're developing into and how I can kind of support them in that, versus just telling them always what to do. And the research actually supports me on this. There is this concept called the secure base in attachment theory. And it says that children need a secure base, a reliable and loving adult who will be there for them when needed. And the function of that secure base is to be the launching point for adventures off base, where the most valuable learning happens. I mean, that sounds a lot like college, right? It also sounds a lot like sending kids to summer camp or sending kids into any activity that's new. As long as they know that you're a safe place to come back to, they can handle change and adversity so much better. So much better. And a secure base for a teen means a really strong relationship with parents that still permits and encourages their push for cognitive and emotional autonomy. What I'm saying there is that kids need to be free to live their own lives. They need to know their parents are behind them. They support them. And you might hear that and be like, oh my gosh, but kids don't know what they're doing. They'll choose wrong. And I want to push back on that a little bit. I want to ask you, what were you like as a teenager? Were you trying to choose wrong? Or were you going after your dreams and your passions? And is there any regret now, or is there total satisfaction in that? What would happen to you if you were allowed to pursue those dreams and passions and know that you had a secure parent behind you who was cheering you on and if you also knew that, hey, if you messed up, that parent's going to come right in and support you and make sure that you get on a more stable path. Versus if you had a parent who didn't even care about what you wanted and was telling you, you have to do this, 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 and this. How would that make you feel? You might look back and be like, yeah, my parent was right, but how was your relationship impacted because of that? Did you feel like you had a secure base? Did you feel like you had a safe place to go back to? This is what we want to give our kids, that secure base, that less of being a director and more of being the audience member who's also maybe a coach on the side, maybe that person who's able to reflect back to your teen exactly what they're doing and ask them if they want to act that way, ask them if they want to show up that way in the world. Now let's talk about what this over control may look like right now. I have this calendar hanging in my hallway. It's beautiful, like genuinely gorgeous. The problem is I have to physically update it every single month. And I have to confess, I haven't touched it since May, and we're about to walk into September. That's why we switched to Skylight Calendar. It's an all-in-one digital smart calendar that syncs seamlessly with Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, Outlook, and more, giving you customizable views for daily, weekly, or monthly planning. You're able to manage events, chores, and grocery lists while assigning colors for each of your family members and eliminating excuses of not knowing what they need to do. And every family member can access it because it sits on our kitchen counter. My favorite part is also the grocery list. Everyone adds what they need, and my husband just pulls it up at the store. Families are better when they're working together. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to myskylight.com/NGM. Go to myskylight.com/NGM for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That is myskylight.com/NGM. Growing up, nobody in my house ever talked about money. I'd go to the bank with my dad, but when it came to my own spending, I never had a number, no budget, like no boundaries of any kind, just guessing. And honestly, money has scared me ever since, and it still makes me a little bit anxious sometimes. That's exactly why I started using Monarch. For the first time, I could actually see everything in one place. And I found out almost 15% of our income quietly going to stuff like I couldn't even name, nor could I remember what was purchased. Now I know where every dollar goes, and that anxious feeling has finally started to ease up. My favorite part is the AI weekly recap. It's like having a little financial advisor in your pocket, minus the judgment for my last Target run. Write your own money story with Monarch. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. If I got a notification every time my kids spent money, mine would just be daily fried chicken order confirmed from a different place every single time. Funny aside, that's exactly why I like Cash App's managed accounts for kids ages 6 to 12. No hidden fees, no minimum balance. And here's the part that gets me. Their savings habits and money history carry forward from a parent managed account at 6 to a teen account at 13 to a full account at 18. No switching apps, no starting over. If you're ready to start teaching money habits without adding more stress to your plate, download Cash App and set up a managed account for your child today. For a limited time, new Cash App customers who are parents can use our exclusive referral code FAMILY10 to earn $10. Download Cash App, enter the referral code in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll receive $10. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Cash App Visa debit flex cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC, and the Bancorp Bank NA pursuant to a license from Visa USA Inc. See terms and conditions for the Sutton prepaid card, Sutton debit flex card, and Bancorp debit flex card. Savings and offers provided by Cash App, a Blanc brand. Parents and legal guardians can open a managed account for kids 6 to 12. Visit cash-app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. We're talking about control, and it is going to be long-term best for you, best for your kid. The more control you can give your kid, the better. The more agency and autonomy they have in their own life, the better your relationship is going to be and the better choices they are going to make for their safety because they are not pushing back against you every step of the way. The human brain craves autonomy. It craves to be in control. And we can let our kids have that control. I mean, right now I'm seeing some behavior from parents that I know is probably not going to go well. I'm hearing stories of like moms sniffing their kids' rooms for alcohol as they move into the dorm. And the kid is just beside themselves, being like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until she gets out of here. There are parents on the college like Facebook groups right now who are asking, should I pack one suit or two suits for my son? Or does anyone know a housekeeper who can come to a dorm? Because my daughter's in a suite with 4 other girls and I want to make sure they're clean. Those kind of things are over control. Those kind of things are, okay, we need to be able to step back a little bit. We need to give kids this agency over their lives. Because our job as parents is to work ourselves out of a job. I never want my daughter to need me. Obviously, there'll be circumstances. I mean, if she's ever in trouble, yes, of course, I am going to be right there by her side. But I don't want that to be the default. I want her to want me. I want her to know that I am that trusted person that she can ask for advice and I won't judge her. I won't push blame on her, that I am going to help her out of any situation that she comes across. I want her to want me. And that is something that I wish for you and your kids as well. We want them to want us. So how do we get them to want us instead of pushing ourselves in these situations where we need to be needed? I'm going to say that, and it might sound really, really harsh, but right now you might be doing a lot of things because you feel it's your job as a parent. You might be telling your kids what to do because you know what's going to happen if they don't do it. Like you're on them about their homework every night. You're on them about their grades. You have that grade portal on your phone. Take the grade portal off your phone. You're getting notifications on all the missing assignments they have. And you're talking to them about each and every one because you want to make sure that they are prepared to get into college, to get the scholarships, to get all the things. This is not necessary. And I want to say that this kind of behavior is doing more harm than good because it's not letting your kids figure out things for themselves. And you might be like, JoAnn, if I didn't look at the grade portal, my child never would. No, they might. I have to tell you, I haven't looked at the grade portal once for my daughter, nor do I look at it for my son, who is an 8th grader. They have always told me if they are struggling or if they need help. And they have before. They have struggled through classes. They have failed tests and they've been in danger of failing a class too. But I was never the one on them. They were always the one coming to me and coming to my husband and being like, hey, I need some help right now. That's what we want them to do. Because when they move to college, they're not going to have us there. They need to know how to ask for that help. They need to know that there is a place to go. And this is also a relief for you. This is a relief for you that you could like exhale and gently like let go of the reins and know that when you let go, a closer relationship is going to follow. I'm just going to give you guys a little example just from this past week, because I feel like with teens in particular, they give you all these signals that they are ready for the next step in autonomy and for control over their own lives. And there are 2 things that happened to me like in the past few weeks with this. The first one was my daughter told me I hug her too much. Which I took as a like real assault. Oh my gosh. We were talking about RSD before. Yeah. This one hit me hard. This one made me want to cry. And I told my husband and my husband's like, I get it. I was like, what? It's a situation where that physical stimulation wasn't something that he enjoyed. And I had to take a step back there, even though it greatly hurt me, and think, okay, like different people need different things. I am not going to push myself in as much because I realized that out of my anxiety, out of my worrying that I wasn't doing enough for my child, out of my worrying that, oh my gosh, soon she'll be gone and I want to make sure that she knows her mom loves her. So I'm going to go and check in on her like 3 times a day in her room and go hug her. And yeah, I was doing all that stuff, guys, until she told me it was too much. So I backed off. I didn't go into her room. It killed me. Because all the while I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she doesn't think I love her. She thinks I'm ignoring her. She thinks that, oh, she's not important anymore to me. I had to fight all of those thoughts. But after doing that, I noticed something changed. She started coming to me more. I would go into my room at 9:30 like I usually do and start my book, and then let's face it, fall asleep right after that. I love sleep. I'm an early sleeper. She'd come in and say goodnight to me. And that hadn't happened for months. Before she went out with friends, she'd be like, hey, I want to go visit my friends tonight. That okay? I was never asked, is that okay before? I was never communicated like that with her. And it has all to do with her telling me what she needed in terms of freedom and autonomy, and then me respecting that. And the relationship prospered. So I want to tell you that's what you have to look forward to when you release that control, when you give them more control over their lives. Because I got to tell you, this control that we disguise as care, it has become this pervasive cultural norm, and it's linked to increases in depression and anxiety in the kids it's meant to protect. I always like to say the tree metaphor here. It's about Biosphere 2. If you remember that project in the early 90s, I remember it really big because I'm from Tucson, Arizona, and that's where Biosphere 2 is. If you hadn't heard of Biosphere 2, it's this project where they locked scientists in this enclosed dome for 2 years, and this dome had its own ecosystem in it. They had its own trees, and they grew their own food, and the trees produced the oxygen, and it was all this big study for living, and don't quote me here, I think it was living on the moon or something like that. They found something was happening with the trees in Biosphere 2. The trees started out as seedlings and they grew up to a certain height, but then they toppled over. And they were first really confused about why this was happening. The tree's getting enough water, the tree has enough nutrients in the soil. What's going on? And then they figured out that it's because there was no wind in the biosphere. The tree's roots never had to be tested because when wind blows a tree, those roots are tested to stay in the ground. And after every challenge, the roots get stronger and stronger. And so the tree can grow higher and higher and withstand more intense gusts of wind and not fall over. This is the same thing with kids. If we control them by not letting any bad thing happen to them, by doing everything for them, they never get that root strength to grow and stay strong later. So just know, when you are letting your kid take more control, where you're giving them more autonomy, they're developing the strength they need to succeed when they get older and when they may eventually leave you and go to college. If you're anything like me, you probably get overwhelmed the second too many decisions land on your plate. That's why I like running everything on systems. A system for breakfast, a system for lunch, systems for basically everything, so I'm not reinventing the wheel every single day. My sister runs her house the exact same way with 2 littles, who are 7 and 2. That's why being able to shop one place for everything, for babies, toddlers, and big kids, all made with real ingredients, is exactly the kind of system I'm talking about. That's Little Spoon. It shows up at your door like clockwork, and it's one big decision off your plate. I recently went to Disneyland with my 2-year-old niece, and having Little Spoon snacks on hand was a total game changer. Their biteables are cut to size pinchable meals that make food time feel easy and support those self-feeding skills toddlers are working on. And can we talk about puffs? They're the perfect toddler snack, organic, made with simple ingredients and easy for little hands to grasp. Feeding the kids doesn't have to be complicated. Little Spoon makes it easy with real nutritionally balanced meals and snacks designed for every stage. It shows up ready to go, takes the pressure off, and somehow still gets devoured. Veggies and all. No artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners either. And you know what? That's a win. Get 30% off your first online order at littlespoon.com/no-guilt with code no-guilt. That's littlespoon.com/no-guilt with code no-guilt for 30% off your first order.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The human postponer. They were the master of one phrase. I'll circle back on that. But 3 months later, you were the one doing all their work and wondering how big that circle is. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can take the hiring load off your plate by automating the hiring busy work from the initial job post to scheduling interviews. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
The new Red Bull Dragonberry Energizer is now at McDonald's. Made with freeze-dried dragon fruit. And made to lock in. The all-new Energizer, now at McDonald's.
In college students specifically, higher levels of parental overinvolvement predicted more insecure attachment with parents and peers, greater internalizing symptoms, meaning, the depression, the anxiety, the stomach aches, the headaches, the feeling of worry, and lower effort regulation, which meant that their emotions controlled the show. It didn't just affect the parent relationship, it followed them into friendships and their ability to manage their own workload. This is huge. I just interviewed Sam Kelly. She has a book coming out that you should go pre-order right now. It is called Notice and Do. It's all about giving kids more and more responsibility. And she talks about something called the dandelion effect. And what the dandelion effect is that what you do right now in your home, what you have your kids be responsible for, it filters out and creates impacts in other areas in their lives. They bring what they do in your home to the classroom. They bring it to their clubs, to their friendships, to their interactions with everybody else because of what you have them responsible for and what you're not doing for them. I believe that you care about your kids. I just don't think that's why you're doing the control and the overparenting. I think that the overparenting might come from a sense of anxiety that you have to do this, else somehow you'll be a bad parent, else somehow your kids will be hurt, else somehow something will befall them. There's this illusion of control that we have. And this sounds scary, but the best way to parent is to know that you don't have that control. You have influence. You have this way where you could gently guide your kids in what to do, but there's no control. The transition of having kids grow up, it is supposed to be hard. It really is. It's supposed to be hard. And remember, as I said earlier, the emotions are an indicator light. If you are feeling the grief, if you are feeling like anger, if you are feeling resentment, it doesn't mean you need to squash those feelings or just do some deep breathing and deal with those feelings. They are telling you something needs to change. If you're having these arguments with your kids and they're constantly pushing back and you feel like your kids don't respect you and you get angry, that emotion you have, it's telling you something needs to change. And it's not with the kids. It's with you. And that's a good thing because we can't control our kids. We can control ourselves. And that's really what I want you to remember. You are going to be doing an excellent job raising your kid. Even when my daughter's now going off to college, this isn't the end at all. This is like the beginning of the rest of her life that I get to be a part of, that she gets to reach out to me to need help. And I get to invite myself into situations, say like, hey, like, I'd love to be there. I'd love to support you. But I don't force myself into them. This doesn't mean that I totally want you to neglect your kids and not be involved in their lives whatsoever. I want you to go to that guide on the side. I want you to be the one coaching who lets go of control and is so proud of your kids when they're able to take over. I think we all kind of have this fear about empty nest syndrome, right? Have you heard of this? I'm sure you have. When kids leave and all of a sudden parents don't know what to do with their lives because they've been taking care of kids. And I want to tell you that the research actually says that empty nest syndrome is largely overblown. It suggests that parents actually struggle more during the middle school transition, losing that early childhoodness than when a kid leaves for college, which is really interesting. And at a longer term outlook, most parents actually report increased life satisfaction and improved relationships after their kids leave the house. And I know that I'm probably talking to you as a mom right here, but if you're a dad listening, or if you have a husband, it's often the fathers who struggle more with empty nest syndrome because many of them don't feel like they had enough time with their kids while working, which even with moms who are working, I mean, I know that most of your mom guilt may stem from feeling like you don't have enough time with your kids. The way our system is set up, patriarchy, the world, is that women usually shoulder a lot of the sickness calls. They're usually the ones expected to take days off. They're the ones expected to shuttle kids to activities. That's kind of time our culture gives us, and our culture doesn't give men that time. There's like, and I say that, and I laugh as I say that because it is so annoying when that happens to us in the present. And there's a lot of drawbacks to this system of patriarchy. And there's a lot of drawbacks for men as well. But it's interesting to know that men have the harder time. I was really fascinated when that came up in the research. So this transition, this isn't a don't feel sad. It's not that. It's the thing you're scared of is not as statistically bad as you think. And people have come out on the other side better. And I want you to be one of those people. If you're listening right now and you have a 10-year-old and you're looking at me and you're looking at other parents and you're like, oh my gosh, their world must be falling apart right now. They must be so sad. Trust me, it could be a joyous thing, a really, really joyous thing. I am so excited for what the future holds for my daughter. I'm excited at the opportunities that she's going to get. I'm excited to go and see her life and see what she creates with it. And also, because she's a teenager, withstand all of the insults that come my way for, Mom, you didn't do it this way. And look what I'm doing. Mom, you did it gets better as they get older. You just have to confront them about it when they do it. Because if you don't know that's a normal thing for teenagers, you're going to be like, oh, this is really hard. It's okay, daughter, go off to school. I have to say, it makes it a little easier, the emotional distancing that teenagers have. And I talked about emotional distancing in a recent episode a few weeks ago. Go and listen to that if you're feeling that right now with your high schooler or with your middle schooler. So ending this with you, as I'm dropping my daughter off at college, I want you to know you're looking for the long-term relationship with your kids. It doesn't end when they leave for college. It is just beginning. In fact, more of the relationship is beginning. We're now transitioning into what's going to be the relationship for the larger part of our lives. We want them to want us. We don't want them to need us. Because if they needed us, that means something went wrong. That's not what we want. Having them want us, that's what a secure base looks like. Not a kid who can't function without you. Not a kid who goes to a month of college and then has to come home because they just can't do it. A kid who knows exactly where home is and chooses to come back to it. So for all of you out there who are experiencing the college separation, my heart goes out to you. I hope that you are excited. If you are feeling a little depressed and sad, come on over to the No Guilt Mom community. I am going to help you through it. I can help you figure out, where is your life going to go right now? What's your next chapter that you want to pursue? Because when you're able to start focusing on you again, it's actually a really, really wonderful thing. So, Lolas, lots of love to you all. Remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you, and I'll talk with you later.
NFL football season is here, which means when you switch to Verizon, it feels like touchdown, because you get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us when you buy an eligible 5G phone on select unlimited plans, which means you can watch every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon, and it's all on us. Now that's the Verizon way to kick off the NFL football season right. Switch and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us, only with Verizon.